Hi people, today we'll be talking about this article on the increased cap for the total number of tenants allowed for each unit. So this news came out on 21st of December that the max cap previously was up to a maximum of 6 for the bigger units, but now with this new ruling that is temporary about 3 years, because you can see over here January 22nd of next year to December 31st of 2026. Then 4-room or larger for HDB flats and also private of at least 90 square meters will be allowed to house up to 8 unrelated people. Of course, for those of you who are unaware, if your family is big but it's just one big family, you can just maybe even 10 people, you can still rent. It's just that we are talking about maybe tenants co-sharing the same amount of the same flat, that sort of arrangement, then there will be a cap. But if your family is naturally big, then it's okay, you can still rent. So that is the change from 6 unrelated to 8 unrelated. Then we will take a look at the impacts later. We'll discuss a little bit more based on what we see in the different opinions that we have, and then I'll input a little bit more on what I personally feel as well. They will review this temporary measure nearer towards the end of 2026. That means it's going to be here to stay for a while. But before those of you who are, rental yield is going to go up, man, I'm going to chiong in for rental. Why not you just stay in here a little bit more before you decide whether you want to chiong in for the rental yield. Then previously, as we all know by now, rental has been going up because of the COVID thing and then construction delay, blah blah blah. And markets rent have jumped 20% from the start of this year till now for both HDB and private, and previously year on year it jumped 30%. If you think about it, 30%, and then after you add another 20%, I think it's easy more than 50%. For those of you who have been looking at the rental market, whether you are as a tenant or landlord, you would have noticed the change. It has been the fastest in 15 years. I think it's normal that you have quite a lot of things that has been going up, inflation, mortgage, taxes, all these. Then naturally the landlords want to pass over to the land tenants, and since there was a shortage of supply, tenants will be willing to pay because they can't be sleeping on the streets, right? And according to PropNex, non-landed private at least 90 square meter accounted for almost about half of those rentals that were approved between January and November this year. This is quite a lot, 70,000+ of them. Then the number of 4 rooms and larger HDB, there are 65% of those that has been leased out. I think it's quite natural. A large percentage of the HDB flats have been 4-room and above. So I think these are quite proportional. It doesn't show that, of course, naturally most people want to rent a bigger one, but not everyone really need that kind of size. It's more of like, I think it's quite proportional to the basically proportion of HDB flats, the different type of HDB flats that's available on the market. So I don't think this is a very surprising thing. As usual, this has been highlighted again and again and again by our minister that housing supply is going to be ramped up with close to 100,000 homes to be completed by 2025. It seems that this point has been brought up a lot of times. Almost every single article this has been brought up. It seems that they are very keen, they are very into pumping up the supply so that we won't have such a huge property surge. Like what I mentioned over the past few videos, or rather quite a lot of videos, I'm not a super property bull. Okay, of course I'm optimistic about our market, but I don't think we are going to surge like the past 2-3 years. That's why it's important for you, if you are looking at investment, you have to be very careful, because not everything like what the past 3-4 years is gonna be. It's not gonna be that easy anymore. We have to be a lot more careful and selective about what we buy, and also careful and selective about when we are gonna exit. You have to find somebody that can help you monitor this very well, instead of just winging it and hoping that the market is going to be in your favor. The rest of the article, I'm not going to talk about this because the next few articles is pretty much about the same, and then I think certain different articles talk about different things that we can highlight a little bit more. The second one is pretty much basically the same article, but it seems that I agree with this part of the articles that says that this temporary measure will be benefiting especially those that have been in manufacturing, nursing, F&B, retail, because they tend to be the foreign workers or maybe also local or even PRs. They are co-sharing the flats together, because most of them, they not renting condos. They will just want the lowest cost possible, but of course not too ridiculous living conditions. So they will want to bunk in with a few of them. They will know each other, or maybe they can trust each other. Then a few of them, I have some one or two units that has been like recently just rented out to a whole bunch of like 6 of them. Very nice people, but they just want here to earn a living, and they want to minimize their rental stay. So this temporary measure, I think, is useful because they will want to rent the same house and then split the cost across more people. But the other concern that some people may think is that you think about it, if you have only 3 rooms, 4 rooms and above, 3 rooms, how are you going to squeeze 8 people? Unless there's like 2 rooms and 3 people each. Not everyone is willing to do that. I think even 2 in a room, they really feel like, it's a little bit compromising. Of course, there will still be people like that, but it doesn't mean that every single HDB units you have a whole block of like 8 of them for you to exploit in terms of higher rental gain. So it's not really that big of an impact as most people think. And also, I think, later I'm going to talk about it, but why not, since we're thinking about it already. There will be landlords who want to exploit people more by trying to, increase their, partition this, partition that, then build up very ridiculous living conditions. I've seen one article before, I cannot find it anymore. It's like, I can't remember where is it. The landlord only put up one piece of cloth. Don't even bother build a wall, just put up one piece of cloth, and then they call it as a room. That's sad, unfortunately. Some people are just miserable. They just don't see other people as human beings. They just want to exploit people. It's unfortunate. Of course, we try not to deal with such people, but there are these kind of people around, and with this new ruling, I'm very sure there will be more of these kind of actions coming up, and hopefully the authorities will be more alert to clamp such people down. Okay, then this part also, the co-living arrangement, because there are some co-living hunters out there. They have to go to rental units. Hey, can I go and rent this unit because we want to do a local living kind of concept? They will be trying to rent it out to more people to increase their rental yield. So there may be a little bit more of this kind of impact, but I personally feel that this impact is not going to be very wide-reaching. It's not going to cause a big ripple across the whole market. It's just going to affect a small part of the market, because if you think about it, how many 8 people, it's not easy to squeeze. 6 people unrelated to squeeze. 3 people sleep in the room, especially the newer BTOs, it's not that big. Unless you're talking about the very old flats, the rooms are very big. The newer ones are not that big. How are they going to squeeze? And they also need their personal space. And imagine you're paying quite a bit of money to them. It may not be expensive, it may not be high rent to you, but most of them, they are not really earning very high pay. To them, it's quite a sum of money. I'm paying this quite a big proportion of my pay to stay here, and then I'm still supposed to squeeze. Come on, not everyone can accept this arrangement lah. Okay, so how many households will actually be affected? And that's not all. When we have higher amount of yield, what will happen is that because you have to declare, right? You declare, and then the AV may actually be higher, and as such, your property tax will be even more painful. On top of whatever has been increased already, your AV may be increased. All these are potential impacts that can be upcoming for those landlords who try to squeeze the system dry, or rather squeeze the tenants dry. Okay, this article kind of have I kind of like this article. They provide mixed view, which I always like. I always like two sides of the coin, right? So this one talk about healthy leasing demand, blah blah blah. Then it will cater to those people who need transitional housing. I think there's not much, but okay, like what we mentioned just now, the lower income groups, they will be benefited. Then the smaller homes may, if they want to rent, it may be a little bit affected because there will be that bunch they will want to squeeze and bunk into that to fit that 8 people. So naturally there will be, as long as they're able to squeeze to one unit, another unit theoretically will be left empty, right? So this creates a theoretically lower demand for the number of units that is required to absorb whatever demand that is available lah. But this particular factor may or may not be that impactful, because if let's say you're talking about private side, some people want to rent private because they want that privacy. That's why they don't mind renting a smaller one. They want on their own. They want to stay on their own, or maybe they want to stay a small couple or small family. There's no way all these people are going to be sharing like up to 8 people to squeeze in one, and the 1 to 2 bedders, they cannot squeeze 8 people, and most of them they will have squeeze 6 people or 4 people inside. So all this, it doesn't really affect. Yes, it may have a small impact, but it's not going to be wide ranging like what I mentioned just now. This is quite ridiculous, I feel. I don't think resale prices of this bigger one is going to climb just because of this, because like what I mentioned, not many of such examples are going to be lying around. Impacts of rent, okay, this kind of agrees with what I say. It's not kind of like a short-term fix to stabilize the market. Overall, you think about it, more people squeeze inside a unit, that small group of landlords may benefit. Then there will be overall lesser demand for total number of units required. So is that eventually going to result in a very significant rise in price? I don't think that's looking very good for the landlord lah. Asking rent may be rise, but impact exactly like what I mentioned just now. Companies employing workers, they need to house them. They may require lesser houses to house their staff, and hence a little bit of lower number of units required. Then also this one, it may affect. I agree to this one a little bit more. It may affect the HDB market more than the private, because of the example that I told you just on the S-Pass holders, or maybe even some of them even got PRs already, and they are the kind of their demographic that will be more willing to share in like 6 to 8 people in one house. Like example, maybe they go and rent a EA or something. Then landlords, on the other hand, just now I mentioned already, landlords, they will want to jack up their rental yield, and as such they have to declare, and they may have to end up paying higher taxes because of the higher AVs. So this may not necessarily really lead to a very, very high rental yield, because taxes will also keep coming. Okay, you definitely cannot run from taxes. And also there are some of them, like I said just now, they want to subdivide like hell their rental unit, and they don't care. They just want to squeeze everyone dry and fatten their pockets. They don't care about whether there are people like this, unfortunately. But because quite a lot of times some of these installations may not be legal, they may not be well done, they just trying to lower their margins, or they're just trying to increase their margins, and hence the quality may not be as good, which may result in fire hazards and all these hygiene issues lah. Authorities, like what I mentioned just now, they need to conduct all these inspections to make sure that the system is not being abused, and also to take care of those people. Come on lah, guys. All these tenants, the lower income one, their life is really difficult lah. Stop making it difficult for them lah. I'm not saying that you shouldn't be renting out to the 8 unrelated. If the house is very big, by all means, please go and do it, because it's more than enough space. Maybe those EA that has 4 rooms, EM that has 4 rooms. But if you have a 4-room flat that is maybe like the newer generations, which are not very big, the rooms are not very big, and you're trying to squeeze a lot of them that are unrelated inside, I can only say just have a bit of heart lah. Think about these people lah. Whenever I rent to or rather I talk to these tenants or rent to this tenant or to this tenant, you always feel that you are lucky that we are lucky that we are born in Singapore. We receive education here, we work here, we have quite a bit of Singaporean privilege. Then these guys coming over, they have to take a lot of risks. They have to face pretty tough conditions at work and also outside of work. The least we can do is to make their life more difficult, and ultimately they are still contributing to our economy and helping to run our society. Let's not be such an a-hole lah. Okay, this is an example of people basically abusing even before, and this was just earlier part of this year. HDB shophouse owner already trying to illegally partition their room without approval. And by the way, all this, whatever you need to do, we want to do inside HDB by right, you need to subject to approval. You cannot just suka anyhow. Definitely rental yield is very high if they are managed to do this, but apparently the unit is no longer available, which is totally not surprising. So please guys, please try not to do that lah. You know, yes, our channel is about going for investment, higher ROI, but like I said, please have a little bit of human heart. Okay, so anyway, this will be what the rental side updates for this particular article, or rather this particular temporary measure, will be about. Overall impact, like I mentioned, is unlikely to be wide reaching. It's not going to shake up the market. It's just going to benefit that few much larger HDB households. The tenants also not going to die squeeze into a 4-room flat. Come on, they also will be viewing the house. Hey, 8 of us, how are we going to squeeze? Then they may not offer. So for those people 4-room and above, you're thinking that, everyone, I'm going to expect 8 tenants and then have super high rental yield. Also think how many of them are willing to accommodate to such arrangement before we get our heads up high that we're gonna do all these kind of things. And also 90 square meters, that's like I think 969 square feet. Anything below that you're not allowed to increase for private side. So anyway, this will be pretty much the end of the sharing we have for today. Then the other thing is that if you have any questions, you have any doubts, you need help, then make sure feel free to reach out if you find whatever I share in my channel has been useful. Because recently I had a viewer reach out to me and say, hey TT, I watched every single one of the episode, blah blah blah. I feel I learned a lot, and then I want to get a property for capital gain because that is my main priority. So I'm like, okay, here and there, and then I realized that he doesn't actually end up, after watching all this channel, unfortunately, he doesn't even understand his own objective, because he comes in that the priority is capital appreciation. Like what I mentioned quite a lot of times across all my videos, is that you have to be very clear what do you want. You cannot expect that, hey, I want to buy like super big size for my own stay, whichever location, and then quite new, and then within this particularly limited amount of budget, and then I still want to make money. I'm like, come on, we are living in this particular market that has been particularly hot. What are the chances of you being able to scrape such a deal? And if not, of course, if you really want to buy something that is what you really like, then don't just buy it because you love it. Just don't expect to make money at the same time. It's a little bit hard at this point to have your cake and eat it too. Okay, unless you are really rich, you can't be bothered about making money. You can buy whatever you want because making money is not at the top of your head. It's not the main priority. Then go ahead. If you are looking for capital gain, you cannot be afford to be emotional. Okay, that's why this quote I think is very true. The people who think that they watch the channel, they are gonna understand everything, they're gonna understand everything about the market. What I say makes sense, and that's why they find okay it's useful for them, and then they find that this totally they totally understand themselves already. Then after that they realize they totally don't understand themselves. So what can I do? There's nothing much I can do. I cannot help you. If you just want to buy something you want, I don't think I'm the right person to help you. Or rather, you don't actually need help. You just need to go and get something you want, like what you like. Basically, just get whatever you want at whatever price that you can accept. Don't expect to buy whatever you like and make money. Okay, just enjoy it, because that priority for capital appreciation is not. You just need to admit that it's not at the top of your list. Okay. Important thing is understand yourself and then be realistic. That is my message for those of you who are wondering. Okay, that will be all we have for today. See you guys. Bye bye.